Man, incredible football game. I could probably sit in here and kind of be Debbie Downer and all that. I spent enough time yesterday doing that. Um, but the fact of the matter is that was a heck of a football game. And I tell you, kudos to the Murray State fans who traveled. You look halfway through that game in the monsoon. I think we had just as many fans as they did there. I know we got a lot of guys from the state of Alabama, and their families were there to watch them and all of that. But didn't play a full game. I think that's what I'm the most disappointed in is right now we're just so sporadic. We play well in one phase, don't play well in the other phase. And to be a good football team, to be a championship football team, you have to be able to play well for 4 quarters, and you have to be able to play well in all 3 phases for 4 quarters. And right now we just can't put that together, especially on the offensive side of the football. However, despite all of that, it does create a lot of creates something to build off of with the players. It creates a little bit of confidence knowing that you go down there with one of the top teams in the land. You play pretty bad for a half of football, probably more than that offensively. You kind of sputter, and a lot of plays. You're talking about an interception that was dropped that probably went for a touchdown with Nigel. You're talking about 2 field goals that are missed that are inside. I'll be honest with you, the 2 field goals were so close. I didn't even realize this was a rule. We missed the 2 field goals inside the 20, and the ball goes to the 20. And I asked the official, I said, "Hey, man, is that right? Do you not just put the ball where you missed the field goal?" He said, "Not when it's inside the 20. And I realized I don't think in my whole career as a player or a coach, I don't think we've ever missed a field goal inside the 20. So I didn't even know that rule. But you got 2 there. You got a drop by Sapp, who's usually one of our best, as far as hands go, one of our best receivers that we have. So we had opportunities there to go up, and we missed those opportunities, but we still have a chance at the end to kick a field goal to win the ball game. So obviously a lot of things to build off of, a lot of things to correct and move forward, and a great opportunity this week with Tennessee Tech, who's coming to our place. Obviously a lot of those guys in the locker room were guys that were here last year. When there's no secret, we went and did not play a very good game last year against this team. So it's got a little extra motivational kick there because a lot of these guys remember that pain and regret getting on the bus last year, leaving their place, as well as, man, we still have 3 weeks in front of us with a chance to get to a 7-5 record. The way that this conference is going, who knows what that looks like 3 weeks from now. With all of the kind of the injuries that we've taken at key positions and all of that stuff, man, there's still an awful lot in front of this football team, and I think that was the most the key to our conversations yesterday was just making the guys understand that and realize that, and coming out of those meetings with that understanding of what's still in front of us. But none of that stuff matters unless you take care of business this week, obviously. We talk a lot about our 1-0 mentality and those type things, and we've got quite an opportunity ahead of us this Saturday.
How much do you have to hammer home with the guys that there is still more to play for despite the fact 3 conference losses?
Yeah, a bunch, just because just from a what do you want to call it? I don't know if culturally is the right word, but it's you have to fight that here. You're still growing out of that. You're still growing out of the, oh man, well, there's always next year type of mentality, right? The first time something goes wrong. I'll be honest with you, I felt some of that the first conference week when we lost to UT Martin. There was a lot of, you talk to people and it's, hey man, keep your head up, everything will be fine, and you're going, my goodness, we're in the 5th week of the season, like the season just started, So we have to guard a lot against that and educate a lot on that with the players, and make them understand what's in front of them. And, you would think with social media as much information is out there, you would think that they would know and kind of what happened through the conference and stuff like that. And a lot of times they don't know. They didn't see this score or this team beat this team and all of that kind of stuff. So we have to educate them continually on that, and also guard against that. I had a player yesterday in our positional leader meeting, kind of started talking about, we talk a lot about why you're playing, not, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. And the only reason why you know how to do it is if you're constantly reminded of your why, right? And he started talking about that, and he goes, man, I just think it's imperative, right now with where we're at, that we remember why we're doing this. Each individual person remembers why they're doing this. And I said, hold on a minute now. We're not there yet. Hold on just a second. We're not there yet. We still have all of these things in front of us. Let's don't get into that mentality just yet. We've got a lot of ball to play. And once you have those conversations, you kind of see their face kind of look at you and go, almost like, I hadn't even thought about that yet. So, yeah, we constantly talk about that.
Coach, at halftime, you guys had run the ball 13 times for negative 11 yards.
Yeah.
After that, you finished the game. And I know Preston's last drive, obviously 3 key runs, and then McCray's 32-yarder, but the running game really changed y'all's just activity in the second half.
Yeah.
Was that an adjustment in the locker room, or was that more of a JSU look that you guys attacked, or what happened there?
No, it was a butt ripping, followed by some adjustments, followed by some encouragement to the guys, followed by a little bit tougher play, is what it boiled down to. And if you want to be realistic about the situation, we had some big plays. We had 2 10-plus yard runs. We had J Mac's big run, that's the reason why I keep coming back to the word consistent as it relates to our run game. We have to be consistently better in our run game, and we have games where we explode for almost 300 yards, over 200 yards, and then we have games like the other night where for half of football we're in the negative, and we got to stop doing that. But that was kind of what it was Saturday. It was some adjustments and then just some heavy encouragement, if you will, to everybody involved, right? Get your head out of your fanny and let's go play ball, and let's come off the football, followed by yesterday and today more of a conversation of what can we do really well, what do we feel comfortable with, and let's do those things, right? Let's have some comfort calls where when we know, Coach Coleman, when that comes out of your mouth, you know it's going to be a positive play. Like, we've got to get to some of those plays where this is going to be a positive play for us, right? And the other night's what I told the offensive staff, and I told Coach Coleman, I said, man, I feel bad for you because there's not one call that you were calling the other night that you knew this was going to be a good play. There's like everything in the first half that came out of your mouth was kind of like, man, I H this work. We don't say the H word around here, but boy, I H this works. And then going into halftime, that was the thing. Cut out all of this stuff. Cut out all of this junk, this little motion here, this whatever, this tag here. Just do this, where the kids can be confident and you can be confident we can come off the football and run the ball with some confidence. And we're going to continue to do that. And we did that. I met with the offensive staff this morning for about 2 hours on that specific part of our game of cut this crap, let's do this. We're pretty good at this. We're awful at this. Stop doing this and do more of this, and let's create some confidence in that area of our offense.
With that being said, obviously the running game is going to be important in the next 3 games to finish out the season like you said you want to. How do you get to a point where you don't, at halftime, have to give them the encouragement, as you said, or is it too late at this point in the season to fix that?
No, it's never too late. I mean, that's why we sit up here for hours on end and raise the electricity bill in this place every day is to figure out ways to increase our productivity in that area. The problem is, I think what we've tried to do is in order to increase the productivity, I think we've just increased everything. Hey, let's have another call. Let's have this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. And let's smoke and mirror all of this stuff, right, to where all of a sudden you can't see the forest for the trees because there's just so much stuff in front of you. And you're trying to do something. There's more signals and more tags. And Rice, we need you to read this, and all of those things, as opposed to just going and playing ball. And that was kind of where I stepped in the past 24 hours is I said, hey, let's do this. in order to increase our productivity, let's do this with what we're trying to do, and try to get really good at something. And then now we go through the processes tonight at practice, the next couple of days, getting really good at the stuff that we all already do more effectively, and just focusing on that. And all that other stuff, throw it out, man. Throw it out.
Tennessee Tech, just a little bit about them. Obviously, they suffered a very tough loss 3 weeks ago at SEMO, and since then have kind of, honestly, played some tougher teams, but floundered a little bit. How do you keep your team from avoiding that same situation, losing a really tight game?
It's a weird team, isn't it? They're a weird team, man. They started and had a big win in the Southern Conference at Western Illinois, go and beat Western Illinois. You know, and then like you said, they take SEMO, what was that, 4 overtimes? Whatever it was, 3 overtimes? I watched that game from my back porch, and I was going, my goodness. And, yeah, and they're still playing good ball. Now, they're still playing good ball when you watch them in their other games that they've played in the conference, but they're sitting at, 1-3 in the conference, something like that, I think. So it's a weird bunch. The best thing for us, and I always say this, I always talk about this, how a lot of times you can learn and you can develop more from losses, right? It's a lot easier than sometimes you do in wins. The best thing for us is the feeling that we had last year, leaving Cookeville, knowing that we had just played the worst game that we could have possibly ever played. Did the same thing we kind of did Saturday night, where we go for 3 quarters and we're completely asleep on one side of the football and then try to catch up at the end and run out of time. And literally the exact same thing we did last Saturday, we did in Cookeville last year. So like I said, I think that's the positive for us is we have that developmental tool from last year, because most of the guys sitting in the locker room were on that team. You know, so they understand that feeling, they know that feeling, they understand what it looked like. So we kind of we get to use that, right, to motivate, to grow, to teach this week, because, and this conference has shown it as good as any conference in this league. Any Saturday does not matter what 2 teams line up in front of one another, anything can happen, and you've seen that over the last couple of weeks.
A little bit also on Bailey Fisher, their quarterback, and also a newcomer receiver leading them receiving, Demetrius Fleming, dynamic return man too.
Yeah, the quarterback. I'll be honest with you, especially after last year, quarterback is one of the toughest players I've played against. Last year we put a lot of hits on him. Quincy Williams hit him quite a few times. He kept getting up. He was taped up. He looked like a mummy out there. He was taped up from ankle to head, and he just kept playing, and I got an awful lot of respect for that kid based off last year, just based off of what I saw personally. Film-wise, you can't, like, I couldn't tell that last year when I watched him on tape until I got there and I saw some of the shots he was taking, and they run him a little bit, very similar to Preston, very similar player, I think. I think those 2 kids are just kind of gritty, tough guys. I think that they demand a lot of respect from their team for that and the way that they play. He's a problem. He's an issue, and he's a problem just from a standpoint. He can get those guys going, and I think that those guys kind of piggyback off him a little bit. I don't think he's ever going to be flashy in numbers and all of that, but golly, boy, he does what they want him to do very, very well, and he's tough. And then the new wide receiver, I've seen him. I haven't gotten into my offensive tape yet. I've been with the offense for a lot of the morning, and my special teams guys. I did have a chance to watch him in the return game. Very dynamic player. Got good size to him, good speed to him. Very, very good player. Been very productive, as you said. Been ultra productive for them these past couple of weeks.
Entering into the game against Jacksonville State, you had known your defense only going to give up 14 points, so you think you're coming away with a win. How has that group improved week to week?
Well, that's what they've done. They've improved week to week. They've gotten better. And I think the reason for that, I think that they have an identity on what they want to look like, what they want to be. And I'll be honest with you, it's a testament to Coach Johnson because their identity is not what he's been comfortable with his coaching career. Coach Johnson has always been from the school of Eastern Kentucky. I remember watching their defenses with him and Dean Hood over there for years, playing against their defenses. They were always going to just make you beat yourself, and they were going to play everything in front. They were very solid, very base, so to speak, and they were going to make you beat yourself. Coach Johnson came here with the same mentality. We did that, especially this year. We were doing that at the beginning of the year and kind of playing very soft, very conservative. And our guys didn't like that. Our corners didn't like that. Our back end didn't like it. Our backers, they wanted to be a little more aggressive. And testament to Coach Johnson, he listened to him. And he said, hey, listen, if you feel like you want to do this and you feel like you can be more comfortable doing this, here we go. I'm going to call it for you. And those guys do. They like showing their teeth a little more. They like being aggressive. They like playing on their toes. I think they still do a very nice job of mixing it up. Had a couple of Caddis has had 2 picks doing that, showing blitz and dropping out of there and been able to kind of bait some quarterbacks into some things. But overall, I think that the biggest deal with them right now is they have an identity about what they want to do and how they want to play. They're not afraid. They're not afraid to look at their faults. They're not afraid to spend time trying to correct their faults, whether that's tackling, because I still think we can get a lot better in tackling, especially a guy like AK who's been phenomenal. I mean, you look at his tackling stats, been phenomenal for us. But that kid knows he has a reality about his game. He knows that when you put him in space, he's in trouble. He's got to get better in open field tackling, and he works at that. And they talk about those things as opposed to hiding from it. And I think that's when you start getting better. That's when you start developing, is when you actually attack your faults and you try to get better at your faults, all the while having an identity about what you're doing. And I think on that side of the ball, we're not there yet. Still got a lot a ways to go. But we're getting closer to that where week in and week out you can kind of see the teeth of the defense and you can kind of see their badge, so to speak, and what they wanted to say, hello, my name is, this is the type of defense we want to be. And week to week I'm starting to see that progression, which is really, really encouraging.
Speaking on the defense, and again, it's about JSU. I know rain played a factor, but they were the #1 passing offense in the league coming into Saturday. You guys held them to 152 yards. 2 of those plays ended up being big-time plays from Hester. How did you guys do that? I guess just from a simple standpoint.
Well, yeah, I mean, the weather's not a factor simply just because both teams have to play in it, right? But it is a factor in what you're trying to do. And I would, you'd sit up here and laugh at me and roll your eyes if I told you, hey, man, the weather didn't, we just busted them on their, we kept them out of pass plays and all that kind of stuff because we were doing all of this phenomenal stuff. No, I mean, neither team wanted to throw the ball a ton, us or them.
Right.
We didn't want to go in that game having to win it, throwing it all over the yard because, as you could see, it's going to be tough. It's tough catching those balls. It's tough throwing those balls. So that helped a little bit. But the other thing is just what I was talking about. We were just more aggressive. And we've never done that against Jacksonville State, to be honest with you. And again, testament to Coach Johnson and his staff. That's one thing that we talked about during the week. And obviously I wasn't going to say it publicly, but that was the one thing we went into the week saying, listen, we've tried it the other way for years, have never been successful. We've tried to sit back and make sure that those guys don't burn us deep and get behind us and all that. Not doing that this year. Let's go after them and let's attack them a little more. Let's play in their face a little more. If you go back and you watch the game, you're going to see our corners are in a lot more press. We've got it. One time I looked out there and I see Kendrick Caddis press on number 2, and I'm going, oh, God. But that was what we did, and it worked because the kids believed in it, and the defensive staff believed in it. And then they had their little curveball pitches where they would loosen those guys up, drop them out of a blitz look, and they just mixed it up really nice.
Last thing I got is in the first half, while the offense was struggling, you guys came out in a quad formation and had a little success out of it. Was that something you had game planned for going in, that you had seen some on film?
Yeah, I mean, I'm from the school of we do what we do, and a lot of times it's just because, hey, I had a dream last night, and I think this is a cool formation. Let's put it in, because a lot of the stuff like quads, to be honest with you, we didn't know how they were going to align to that. It wasn't something that we'd seen somebody else do, and we're like, boy, they're struggling with this. But we do a lot of that stuff. The issue I have, and let me be very clear. You know, we talk a lot about the run game. That was not the problem the other night. Okay, and I've talked to the kid about this. We played incredibly bad, incredibly poorly at the quarterback position. Okay, one of his worst nights as far as making decisions. He knows that. We know that. Talked to him a lot about it yesterday, because of some of the things we were doing in that quad set. We had some easy reads, simply just reading numbers, right? Hey, we have this many. Do they have this many? Let's get it out there. If they have this many, let's do it in here. I don't know what happened. Don't know if he just felt like he had to put an S on his chest, but he did some things uncharacteristically poorly the other night, made some bad decisions. And like I said, skill-wise, we had our opportunities, you know, so I don't want to sit up here and make it sound like I'm bashing on the offensive line or the running backs or anything like that for run game, because really and truly those guys played one of their better games up front against a very talented defensive line. We played one of our worst games from an assignment, alignment, execution standpoint in the skill positions, starting with the quarterback position. Had some drops, which obviously you're going to have those, right? Like, let's cut the coach speak out. You're going to have those in a monsoon like it was. Had some busts, especially from our running back position, like some true busts, some head scratchers. And, you know, so all of that, plus the first half, we were doing nothing in a run game from the run game standpoint. Again, you take all of that, and then you look at the final 4 seconds of the game, and all of a sudden we're kicking a field goal against a team like that to have a chance to win the ball game. Golly, boy, it's just, you know, makes you not want to get on the bus and ride back afterwards, because you're embarrassed. You're embarrassed to get on the bus with the boys right there. You know, and you're hurt for them, you know what I mean? Because you feel like you didn't do your job preparing them well enough and all of that kind of stuff to play that poorly for 3 quarters and then still have a chance at the end. It's like I told the staff, I said, golly, boy, there's a lot of fight in that locker room to be able to do that against a team like that, and I was awfully proud of them for that. But we gotta be consistently better. We got to play 4 quarters better. That was a very long answer to your short question. I apologize about that. I do that a lot, don't I, Neil?
Not sometimes.
Yeah.
Helps fill an hour.
Right. That's right.